Yo, 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 hello, what is this? This is YouTube. Hello, YouTube. This is your boy, CEO Tyrone Glover, and I'm coming to you live from Yonkers, New York. I know you can't quite see out there, but this is Yonkers, New York. We're a little bit close to the water, and I know on this hazy day, you can't really tell what's going on out there in Yonkers, New York, but we are live. You can see those cars moving around out there by CVS right there. And out there in the distance is actually New York City. You can't quite see it, but on a beautiful, clear day, you can really see all the way to New York. There's actually, I can see it, but you can't quite see it. That's the George Washington Bridge out there in the distance. But I want to thank you all for taking the time to give me a little bit of the audience that I've been looking for. This is Leverage Credit Recovery, and this is our brand new series called The Pushback. We are going to be pushing back on everything that is out there. When I say everything, I mean everything. There's a lot of things going on in our world today, and it needs to be pushed back on. So citizens, consumers, businesses, you name it, students, workers, union workers, I don't care. If you are far right, you are far left, bring it. Bring your understanding, your situations, your misinformation, anything that you have that you think is of value, share it with the pushback. We want to push back. We want to push back on all of these false claims, all of these misnomers, all of these things that create somewhat of a controversy, somewhat of an issue out there. We want to push back for you. So, what is the pushback all about? As I indicated, it's about talking about things that make us, I wouldn't say nervous, but things that make us insecure about what our government's doing for us. I wrote down some items here. I'm looking at my YouTube page, my Facebook page, so my apologies. And I'm just going back to some of those things that I really wanted to talk about and what makes the pushback so serious. And as to those things, what should we be pushing back on? If you haven't, get an opportunity, go to my Leverage Credit Recovery page on Facebook, go to my Leverage Credit Club page on Facebook, even go to my Tyrone Glover page on Facebook, and get an understanding of what we are going to be pushing back on. If I failed to introduce myself in the beginning, my sincerest apologies. My name is Tyrone Glover, and I am the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery here in Yonkers, New York. That's 10701, Yonkers, New York, 10701. I love my city. And everything that I bring to the table is always about, first and foremost, making sure that YO914 Yonkers, New York has the best of everything that it needs to make itself that much more productive when it comes to our citizens. Yonkers has a great location, centralized, as I stated, right here close to New York, and we are an up and coming city. This city has so much potential. I was born and raised here. I traveled the world. I went through some difficulties of my own, and now 53 years later from birth, I'm back where it all started. So I thank God for giving me life. I thank God for giving me the understanding. I thank God for giving me the due diligence of being able to realize I need to be back home. I want to thank all of my employers who have blessed me with the opportunity of working for them and giving me the knowledge that I needed to now be able to come back home and do what is needed for our citizens. So the pushback is for the global community. The pushback is for the United States of America, but primarily the pushback is for Yonkers, New York, our citizens. I want to also give a shout out to CYI Hats. CYI Hats is a local brand. Schools, businesses, institutions that are here in Yonkers. If you're looking for product, guess where you should be going? Locally. You should be going locally. Give our local brands a huge shout out, give them a huge understanding as to why you should be supporting them, why you should be allowing their brand to be part of your brand. We have to support our local businesses. I want to also give a shout out to um, Antonio of Throughway Insurance. Antonio has been a great friend of mine who has literally helped me understand some of those elements that I need when it comes to my finances. So Throughway Insurance, I'm going to give you a huge shout out to my friend Antonio Kenyatta. He is an excellent resource on building out that portfolio when it comes to your benefits, when it comes to your insurance, when it comes to your savings. Get with Throughway Insurance and let them help you out. I want to give a shout out to Juice for Life. If you're not juicing it, guys, if you're not doing that part to make sure that you are staying healthy on the inside, get with Juice for Life. Have them really educate you on the importance of making sure that our bodies are well nourished when it comes to our vitamins, when it comes to our minerals. If you're not taking it from a supplement, go visit Juice for Life on Nepperhan. They have a great selection of beverages. I enjoy it. I attempt to get out there as much as I possibly can, but Juice for Life, you got to get out there. You got to juice. Make sure you're doing the right things. All right, so getting back to primary reason why the pushback was established. So the pushback welcomes all parties from right to far left. Doesn't matter far right, far left. I want you to share your thoughts. I want you to come out and literally sit down with us. This is a live opportunity for all of you to really get involved, to get an understanding. There's an election coming up here. There's an individual right now in the White House that are doing things that go against what we understand as people. Right now, I'm sure if you haven't heard, definitely get on one of your local news organizations and find out. Turkey has now invaded the northern part of Syria. So is that something that we should be doing? We know the Kurds were there to help us out, but we're giving this man in the White House way too much leverage and room to do whatever it is that he wants to do. So if you do not follow current events, I can strongly suggest you might want to get out there and start following those current events. As I stated, the pushback welcomes all parties, far left, far right, doesn't matter. Share your thoughts. However, we come correct. Please be informed. If you're going to push back, don't come with some hostility and arguments that don't hold water. Come correct. Because I'm going to push back. I'm going to push back on everyone who brings things to the forefront, brings things to the table. I don't mind. I'm well informed. I'm well versed on all of the topics that I'm going to be talking about. So please, if you bring it to the table, trust me, I'm going to know whether or not you're coming correct or if you're not. If you're not coming correct, I would do you and do yourself a big favor. Don't put it out there because it's going to be debunked. All right? The conduct and the behavior of those who claim they're serving us, the people, is intolerable, it's unbelievable, it's despicable, it's troubling, and it's unacceptable. This is why the pushback is here. We're going to be pushing back on a lot of things. One of those things that we're going to be pushing back on is rent. Rent in this world, not in this world, but rent right now is a little bit outrageous. It's a little bit outrageous. It is causing people to really have to reconsider their decisions. We're not getting what we're paying for. I moved into a luxury building, and I'm going to disclose exactly who this luxury building is. Sawyer Place, Yonkers, New York. Sawyer Place, Yonkers, New York. The only thing luxury about Sawyer Place, Yonkers, New York is the signage. That's the only thing. It says luxury apartments. Now, I might have thought this was a luxury apartment, or I might have been misled into believing this was a luxury apartment. But the only luxury that they have, as I indicate, is their signage and also when you walk in through the main entrance. Nice, beautiful luxury entrance. You walk up one of the stairwells that's taking you to the amenities area. The amenities area On a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 5 or 6. Doesn't meet the luxury standards, but that's between me and the Sawyer place. But telling you folks, rent in these particular situations outrageous for what you're getting. So please, 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 we'll be talking more about this as we go on. Rent is one of those things that we are finding to be something that we need to push back on. Wages. I can talk about wages all day long, all day long. 28 years working for 19 different companies. Trust me, when I come to the table, I come correct. I don't come here to BS. I come here to tell you exactly what you should be looking for, what you should have an understanding of, and how you, as a citizen in this country, what you should be requiring from your employer. Now, employers, don't get me wrong. I'm an employer myself. I'm also an employee. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate my employer. I love the fact that I can have a employer outside of my business, because being part of the gig economy, GIG economy, you guys have to understand you're going to need two means of being able to make sure you're making ends meet. My apologies. And to make ends meet, got to have that primary. That which takes care of, brings in guaranteed money over and over and over and over and over, and also being part of the gig economy. Some of you are already in the gig economy. Uber driver, Lyft driver, all of these now extra opportunities that are now out there for a secondary income is part of that gig economy. If you're not busting your hump at one employer and then going to another job, that's, again, part of the gig economy. So please get a better understanding of how you are making your money, and is it working for you? Because trust me, it's not working for you, it's working for somebody else. And we'll talk more again about all of these topics as I go through the pushback. Another item that we're going to be talking about is healthcare. We know that healthcare is not working in this country. Our congressional leaders, our leaders, the people who claim that they're protecting us, they have great health care. I believe Bernie Sanders just suffered a heart attack. Our sincerest prayers and thoughts go out to candidate Bernie Sanders. We wish you a speedy recovery. We hope that this doesn't have anything to do as far as affecting your ability to continue to run. But should it have an ability, or should it have some hindrance on your ability to run effectively, we are here to support you. We are here to give you whatever help that we can give you. Not saying that we endorsing you at this particular moment, but I do appreciate everything Bernie Sanders has brought to the electoral process. He's a great candidate, has great ideas, and I look forward to seeing him out there in the political cycle and doing his thing as he has successfully done over the past, now going on, I think it's 6 years now, because he did that first earlier one with Hillary, and now he's back in it again. So Bernie, keep doing your thing. We appreciate you, we love you, and we wish you nothing but speedy recovery. But the healthcare in this country needs to be evaluated, needs to be checked out, whether you like the Affordable Care Act, whether you don't like the Affordable Care Act, whether you want to call it Obamacare, whether you want to call it Trump care, whatever you want to call it. Healthy nation means healthy people. So just that simple. But we'll talk more about that healthcare as we go through. Schools, education, what's going on with our schools in this country? What's the problem? Why can't we seem to understand that you can't run schools like a business? Little Johnny, little Josue, little Tommy, little Mary, little Susan, whoever it is that you're wanting to distinguish, you can't run them and say that they're going to generate X, Y, and Z. When I was growing up, we had every type of program that you could possibly think of. Every type of program. Because businesses paid their fair share when it came to making sure that the schools had the resources that it was needed for the students to equally have the resources. The reason why schools are suffering now is because our elected officials, sorry to say, don't care in the manner in which they should. They're not holding anyone accountable to making sure that our schools are being or given the resources that they need. It's time for our elected officials to get their heads out of the sand, get their heads out of their rectums, and start doing what they're supposed to be doing. Do for the people, or the people will elect you out of office. Just that simple. Our schools need your help. You can't help us. We're going to do it on our own, and we're going to make sure that you are removed from the process. I'm pushing back because this is something that's near and dear to my heart. All right. Schools and education need now to become first and foremost in this country. Too many of our kids, because of No Child Left Behind, we're leaving more children behind. So we got to do our part. Government. What in the world is going on with our elected officials? Can somebody help me figure out what's going on with our elected officials? I know what's going on with our elected officials. You just don't care anymore. You don't. You act like you do. You go on TV to promote that we're here for you. We're doing what we can. Maybe this many of you are, but unfortunately the gap between those who are and those who aren't is too freaking wide. And I'm not sitting back and allowing it any longer. I'm going to be pushing back. I'm going to be constantly pushing back. Every Tuesday and Thursday, you will see the pushback. Hopefully somebody will see us and they'll understand, wait a minute, this guy's got something going on. So we need to get the pushback out there a little bit harder, a little bit stronger. I'm looking for all news organizations who want to talk to the pushback. I'm looking to all broadcasting companies who want to talk to the pushback. We need to be on a larger platform. But I got to thank YouTube for doing what it does, which gives us, the little guy, the audience to be able to get out there. So the pushback is going to be pushing back on a lot of things. But our elected officials, come on now. Come on now. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you're thinking, but I know for a fact that you're not doing enough. And you should be doing a lot more. Politics. What's going on? What's going on? Our politics is all over the map. All over the map. Y'all can't seem to get it right, because you're allowing one ignoramus to dictate everything. None of you have the gall or the cojones, and I hate to use that word, and I don't mean to be sexist in that regard, so please, my apologies, should I have offended someone. I don't mean to be offensive, but I'm going to use these types of terms to get you guys to really understand we got to be pushing back on these things, on all of it. Government should not be running in the manner in which it's running. It's not serving the people, and it is about we the people. And if you can't do it, by all means, step aside, because there is someone out there who can. Serve the people in the manner in which you were elected to do so. And if you can't, step aside. If you're that fearful of stepping up to Trump and telling him, sorry, sir, you can't do that. If Congress, if you have equal, you do understand equal, right? You have equal understanding. The president doesn't just run everything on his own. The courts don't just run everything on its own. It's up to Congress, the courts, and the my apologies. We have the courts, which is judicial. We have the elective, which is the president. And then we have the Congress, which is the legislative. So if you three bodies can't make it happen, then something's wrong. The president should not be shutting down investigations all because he can or she can. What's going on here? When did this stuff get so convoluted and so unacceptable? We need to do a better job in making sure that you're doing a better job. And if you can't do the better job, then you need to step aside. You need to remove yourself from office, because you're not living up to what we put you in office to do. That goes for all of you. You secure your jobs and then you're afraid to do your job. Sad. But we, the people, have to step up and push back. So that's what the pushback is all about. All of you, Every single one of you. Don't be afraid to do what you're supposed to do. Because trust me, the pushback is going to do what it's supposed to do, which is push back on all of you. Infrastructure. I look around my city, I see more potholes than I do smooth roads. I see more disturbing situations than I see better situations. You got to do a better job. My water in my apartment, my luxury apartment, is brown. Why is my water brown? Why? Why is my water brown? That has nothing to do with me. I didn't ask for brown water, but it's brown. That has nothing to do with me, the citizen. That has to do with the infrastructure. Got to do a better job, folks. The bridges. Got to do a better job, folks. Our parks. Got to do a better job, folks. And this goes back to our elected officials. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're not holding businesses accountable to making sure that they're paying their fair share. You can't continue to get the money from the citizens thinking that that's going to cover the shortfalls. You keep raising our taxes. You keep feeding us to death. You keep making parking tickets and fines all the more expensive for us when you yourself are not holding the businesses accountable. You gotta do a better job. Laws. We're a lawless nation now. We're not a lawful nation. We're not doing what we're supposed to do when it comes to the laws. We're letting criminals off the hook. And I'm not talking about the nickel and dime criminals. I'm talking about the blue collar criminals, the white collar criminals, those who are getting away with bloody murder. You're letting them off the hook time and time and time and time and time and time and time again. I despise the legal profession currently in the manner in which it's I despise them. I'm more for pro se litigants than I am for legal representation because you guys don't fight, you settle. You're all about settling. You're all about taking an individual and putting him through a process where it's not going to benefit them at all. It benefits you because you charge anywhere from $600 to $700, $800 an hour for what? For you to go in there and settle? Well, guess what? Your settling days with the pushback are over. We're not allowing for you crappy lawyers to go out there and do what you can't do, which is argue. You're a disgrace. You're such a dishonest institution right now that I'm now pushing back on all you legal perpetrators. All of you. You got a problem? Leverage Credit Recovery, 45 Main Street, Yonkers, New York. Any legal professional out there got a problem? Please come downstairs right here. 45 Main Street, Yonkers, New York. I love to sit down with you and talk story because that's all you guys do. None of you do your job. You deserve to be disbarred. You don't deserve anything that you are claim you're entitled to because you've failing or fallen. Well, you've fallen far from doing your oath and you failed your oath. I, as a veteran, understand the oath because I took an oath to serve and protect this country from foreign and domestic enemies. And guess what we're facing right now? More domestic enemies than we've ever faced in our entire history. Shame, shame, shame on the legal professionals. Shame on you. Let's talk more. The courts. Oh my goodness. Conflict of interest. Can you say conflict of interest on our court systems currently? Yes, conflict of interest. You have equally failed the very institutions, or excuse me, you have equally failed the consumers that support these institutions. You failed us. Quid pro quo. Conflict of interest. Courts and the legal professionals have literally a huge conflict of interest. Pro se litigants, you need to step up and push back. Banks, student loans, money. What's going on in there? What's going on with you guys? Student loans. I think you may have forgotten about the Higher Education Act of 1965. I didn't forget about it. I went back and I had to read up on it. Higher Education Act of 1965. Navient, go back and check it out. Go back and get your education, because clearly you must have forgot something, or you must have overlooked something. We're pushing back on you too, Navient. Government, get your head out your butt. Students didn't put themselves in these positions. You did. You told students, go out, look for a school, go to school, stay out of trouble, and there will be sufficient jobs for you there. There's not sufficient jobs. If you take on a $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 student loan, and you come out of, or you finished your degree and you come looking for that job that should be there, and you're having to settle for a $10 an hour job, the student didn't fail the student. The institution that told the student to go out and look for that job failed that student. And all of what Congress needs to do is do what they did for the banks, do what they did for housing, do what they did for autos, is bail these students out. Give them a fresh start. And banks, auto, and housing, that was their own created problems. They created their own problems. Students didn't create their own problems. They followed directions. And you lied to them. Climate control. Do we have to talk about that? Do we have to talk about that? The young lady from Sweden, I believe, or Norway. I can't really. I believe her name was Greta. So Greta, thank you. Thank you, Greta. And I'm sorry if I got your country wrong, but thank you. Thank you for what you did, because they all should be ashamed of themselves. Empty words. You're absolutely right. Empty words. Guns. What's going on with guns? Don't nobody want your guns, Americans? Don't nobody want your guns? Keep your guns. I'm all for the, what is it, Second Amendment? Right to bear arms? Yes, please, bear your arms. But don't bring your nonsense to my communities. You don't agree with something? That's on you. Be a responsible gun owner. But as I'm going through the list of the items here, I still haven't touched on labor. I still haven't touched on Social Security. There's a lot of things that we need to push back on. And we're going to push back on all of this stuff. So I'm encouraging all citizens to really think about it. Really contemplate what it is that you want for you, for yourself. What is it that you want for your nephews, nieces, for your children? As it stands right now, our kids are more afraid of their future than I think any time in our history, because they don't really see that the government is there to protect them, or that the government is there to do for them. I see more kids terrified when I see them in schools. I see more kids uncertain when I see them in our communities. They don't have the resources that used to be there. Why? Because greed in this country has surpassed common sense. And it's sad. And it is so, so, so sad. And we have to push back. I'm about 28 minutes and 59 seconds into wrapping this up. I hope that you all got something from this. The pushback will be airing every Thursday and every Tuesday. Every Tuesday and every Thursday at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Elected officials, I'm demanding all of you to reach out and give the pushback a little bit of your time. You want me as one of your constituents, somebody to elect you, then you need to be part of why I'm pushing back so hard on everything that I just mentioned. If it's wages, if it's rent, if it's healthcare, if it's school, if it's education, if it's government, if it's politics, if it's infrastructure, if it's laws, if it's courts, if it's policing, if it's student loans, if it's banking, if it's money, if it's climate control, if it's guns, if it's labor, if it's social security, we should all be pushing back on that which makes us uncomfortable about the way in which it's going now. Thank you so much, everybody who took the time. Thank you so much. I will be uploading this on my Facebook page. I will be uploading this on my Instagram page. I will be doing everything that I can to make sure that this information gets out to you, the public. We have to push back. We have no other choice. If we do nothing, then we cannot constantly keep complaining. Why? If we don't vote, you can't complain. We love to do a lot of behind closed doors talking. We love to do a lot of water cooler talking. But yet we will not get out there and voice our understanding or our discomforts about what's going on in our society. It is time, it is overdue time, and we have to push back. We have no other choice, folks, or the things, the norms that we are accustomed to will no longer be those norms. The economy, even though we see the Dow at 26 and 27, it's not helping everybody. If you're not in the Dow, which every single one of us is, we participate in the Dow on a regular basis, but what are we receiving back? A lot of us aren't receiving anything because we don't understand it. We need to get a better understanding. Leverage credit recovery is primarily about credit. That's our number one goal of making people understand that if you are using credit, then it should be working towards your opportunities. But if you are not using credit, then you're not building credit. The means in which you are doing your transactions, they're working for somebody else. They're not working for you because you don't understand how these things work. You might have an idea, but you don't understand it fully. If you did, you would be benefiting from it. Multi-millionaires, they benefit from it. And I have a category of how I put people into certain understandings. You could be a hundredaire. That means you're making $100 a week, $100 a month. You're not part of that economy. You're participating in it because you're spending that money, but you're not benefiting from it. If you're a thousandaire, you could be a thousandaire, a 10,000aire, 100,000aire. You might be receiving some small trickle down of participating in that part of the economy, but you're not benefiting fully. When you start benefiting fully, then you'll see it on a regular basis. No matter what the Dow does, you still win. Trump wins because he's a multi-millionaire. Okay? But those of us below that status, you're not winning. And if you're supporting someone who thinks that he's or she is doing for you, unfortunately, that's not the case. I've gone over by 3 minutes. I want to thank you again. My name is Tyrone Glover. Please look me up on Instagram and Facebook. I am the CEO of Leverage Credit Recovery. Please look us up on Instagram or Facebook. I operate also, it's called the Credit Club. Please look us up on Leverage Credit Recovery. Please look us up on Facebook. I'm also looking to start a nonprofit organization, which is called Young Entrepreneurs USA. And our first and foremost opportunity is going to be right here in Yonkers, New York. We do have a small little chapter that we started about a year ago, and we're looking to build that. It's called our Yonkers Young Entrepreneurs, working with My Brother's Keepers. We're going to be doing a lot of things, but I really wanted to introduce the pushback to you, let you know we're here, and we're going to be pushing back on a lot of topics, and I hope that you join us. Thank you so much, Yonkers, New York. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love this community, and I'm going to be doing everything that I possibly can to make sure that my community has what it needs to have, because we are pushing back. Thank you very much. Yonkers, love you. Peace out.